We're back in Asturias, where we're going to go cycling along the coastal paths and limestone cliffs of Llanes, mountain biking in Llaviana, and exploring the high mountain pastures of Brañagayones in the Redis Natural Park. Asturias is located on the north coast of Spain, between Cantabria and Galicia. We started in Llanes and then moved into the centre of Asturias to go biking in Llaviana and visit the Parque Natural de Redis. It's a beautiful natural paradise of wild coastline and high interior mountains. Here we are on the Costa Verde of Asturias. This part of Asturias is beautiful. The green coast of Asturias, just below the Picos de Europa that are up there in the cloud today. All of this rock, all this limestone that's been eaten away with the salty air and the wind and the storms that hit this coast in the winter time, and just eats it into this jaggedy teeth of rock. We've been exploring the coastline on e-bikes, starting in the Playa de Guadamía with its huge limestone cliffs. We've followed these paths and trails along parallel to the sea, and they've just been to visit Playa de Gulpiuri, which is the smallest beach in the world, apparently. The smallest beach in the world. It's actually separated from the ocean, so if the ocean is 50 yards this way, it's just over there, and it's connected by a tunnel that's worn its way through the limestone, which means as the tide comes up, it fills up and creates this beautiful little sandy beach that actually has no sea in front of it. It's just a little hillock. De años feliz. So this was Agustin Ibarola, who's a Basque artist. We painted 236 of them between 2001 and 2006. He said it was a giant challenge of many shortcomings, which probably meant that when he started he didn't realise how much a big project it was. But it's very beautiful. La Sidreria, the cider house, a staple of northern Spain, and especially Asturias, where cider is poured from high above the head to break up and aerate the flavour, and families gather to eat entrecot chuletón, big slabs of meat cooked on the grill. Right here sometimes you get this kind of sea mist that gives a real dramatic feel to the coast. Has really interesting weather. The weather comes off the sea, off the Atlantic Ocean, and it hits the mountains and the Picos de Europa, and it creates all of this moisture that's in the air today. Sometimes just over the hill might be burning sunshine. So we're seeing the other side of the orographic weather here. While on the coast, it's low cloud and almost kind of misty, little bit of almost rain in the air. That air and that moist air has been pushed up over the mountains, it's lost all that moisture, and now it's dry and warm and sunny. I'm here in the Vega de Brañagayones, which is a high alpine pasture. The farmers of the valley bring their cows up to eat grass up here in the summer. And what they used to do in the past, it would be quite a big walk up here, so they'd build these cabins. They're called cabaña de caso. This is a pretty good version of like the traditional one, so they do a low stone structure and then they do kind of a pitched roof with wood. It'd be beech because this is all beech forest, and they'd stay up here with the cows all summer. When it started getting into autumn, they'd come down with the cows into a pasture that's about halfway down the mountain, and then in the winter they'd go down into the valley. La Ruta de Alba. Deep in the Redis Natural Park, a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, lies one of Asturias' most beloved trails. Once a shepherd's path linking mountain villages, it now guides hikers along the crystal clear Rio Elba, through limestone gorges and past cascading waterfalls beneath ancient beech forests. This walk is easy enough for your family, but it's wild enough to feel like proper discovery. This is Asturias, it is most untamed and beautiful. This is an Oreo. They are only found in Galicia, Asturias and País Vasco, in the Basque country. It's basically a pantry. People used to fill this with potatoes, corn, whatever they got out of the fields. It worked as a cool, dry place to store your food. Lift it off the ground to protect it from rats and different like little animals that are going to get in there. They leave it with natural little gaps because the way it works is the air has to flow in and out. Couple of cool Oreo facts, not to be mistaken with Oreo cookies. The base, these things, gave you an idea of how much economic power the people had. So, wooden ones are the cheapest. Next is stone like this. And then there are some that have like carved stone. Another one, if they had more than one set of stairs going up, that means they were shared. So you could have your own Oreo, or you share it with your neighbours. The corner pieces were used, instead of being 2 bits of wood like this, they took a whole square chunk of wood and then they carve it out on the inside. Don't know why they did that. And then lastly, a house in Spanish is an inmueble, which means it's you can't move it. It's unmovable. And these Oreos are bien muebles, which means you can move them. So they were built in a way, they were basically everything slotted together, and you could, if you really wanted to, take them apart and move them somewhere else. Now you know pretty much everything there is to know about Oreos. We're in a small village above the town of La Pola de Llaviana in Asturias, now in the centre, more of the centre of Asturias, away from the sea. It's very, very steep. So lucky we have e-bikes, otherwise we'd still be at the bottom. And we're going to ride a trail called the Senderos de Carbón today, which is the first officially recognised IMBA flow trail in Spain. It's been built above this town. We've got to climb up along this ridge. It's a beautiful day, and we're going to go check it out, see what it has to offer. I've never been to this part of Asturias. I've been to a lot of different parts of Spain, ridden my bike in almost all of the main bike hubs in Spain. But this is stunning. It's really well signed. But this was all mining country. So they're using old mining routes, old mining roads, and then they've repurposed a lot of them into mountain bike trails. It's amazing. I mean, it's stunning. Big climbs. You definitely want an e-bike unless you're very fit. It's just really, really beautiful. We're right on the ridge of this mountain above the Llaviana. Pretty special place. Hidden mountain bike hub, I'd say. What a week we've had here in Asturias, from the coast up until these high mountains in Redis National Park. We've had an absolute blast. The mountain biking in Llaviana was incredible. Really fun trails. And this, you just wouldn't expect to find it in Asturias. You wouldn't expect to find it in Spain. It's like being in the Alps. We'll be back. We'll be back. There's so much more to see. And the landscape is really just out of this world.